Look up at the night sky. It's a vast expanse that connects us all, regardless of borders. From space, the border between the United States and Canada is just a line, an idea, not a physical barrier. It's a concept that exists only in our minds and maps. Down here we see America as the powerful protector and Canada as the quiet neighbor. But this perception is just one layer of a much deeper story. But what if the real story of power is written not in treaties or economies, but in the land itself? The terrain tells tales that politics often overlook. Geography tells a different story, one of deep structural dependence that flows from south to north. Rivers and mountains shape destinies more than we realize. This isn't about armies or GDP, it's about water, energy, and access to the future. These elements are the true lifeblood of nations. In this version, Canada isn't the junior partner, it's the silent landlord of the continent. Its resources are indispensable. Its wilderness holds the keys to America's long-term survival in ways few realize. The untouched landscapes are reservoirs of future potential. Let's peel back the layers of politics and economics to reveal the bedrock of geography. The land itself has stories to tell. We'll explore how water, energy, and the Arctic are quietly rewriting the rules of power. These natural elements are reshaping our world. The story of America and Canada is a drama of geology, climate, and resources. It's a narrative that goes beyond human constructs, and in this drama, the quiet neighbor to the north is far more powerful than you might think. Canada's role is pivotal, and its influence profound. Water, simple, clear, and essential. It is the stuff of life nourishing every living thing and sustaining entire civilizations. The United States, for all its might and innovation, is a thirsty nation. Its sprawling cities, vast farms, and powerful industries depend on immense quantities of water every single day. As climate change intensifies, that thirst grows more desperate, with droughts and heat waves threatening water supplies across the country. Now, look north. Canada controls about 1/5 of the world's fresh water, with immense rivers, millions of lakes, and a landscape shaped by water. The Great Lakes, managed by both nations, supply drinking water to tens of millions of Americans and power industry across the Midwest, forming a vital lifeline for both countries. This water is essential for energy production, cooling power plants that keep the lights on, and fueling hydroelectric dams that generate clean electricity. As American aquifers dry up and rivers shrink, the pressure to look north for solutions will only grow stronger. Large-scale water diversions from Canada, once unthinkable, are now being seriously discussed in policy circles and engineering studies. Canada has resisted these proposals, but geography has dealt it an incredible hand, one that is becoming more valuable every year. It holds the ultimate trump card. The water its southern neighbor will increasingly need to survive, grow, and prosper. This gives Canada a quiet, profound leverage that transcends military or economic power, shaping the future of North American relations. America's future may depend on the goodwill and geography of its northern neighbor, as water becomes the new currency of power. The balance of power is shifting, drop by drop, as every gallon becomes more precious. In a thirsty world, Canada's water is the ace up its sleeve, a resource that could define the continent's future. Energy is the currency of modern civilization. It powers our homes, fuels our cars, and keeps the wheels of industry turning. Without it, the world as we know it would grind to a halt. The US is the world's largest energy consumer, but its most critical energy relationship is with Canada, a partnership that often goes unnoticed by the public, yet is vital to both nations' prosperity. A vast network of pipelines, stretching for thousands of miles, carries Canadian oil and gas directly into American refineries and markets, forming the backbone of North America's energy infrastructure. Canada is by far the largest foreign supplier of oil to the US, more than the entire Middle East combined. Every day, millions of barrels flow south, quietly fueling American life. Any disruption to this flow would have immediate catastrophic consequences for the US economy, sending shockwaves through markets and daily life alike. The connection goes beyond fossil fuels. Massive Canadian hydroelectric dams send clean, renewable power south, stabilizing grids in New England and New York, and helping the US meet its climate goals. This intricate web of pipelines and power lines creates a strategic vulnerability rarely discussed in public debate, yet it is central to North American security. The flow of energy is controlled by decisions made in Ottawa, not Washington. Canadian policymakers and executives hold the keys to this vital supply. As the US leans more on Canadian oil and electricity, it cedes a measure of its energy sovereignty, making itself dependent on its northern neighbors' goodwill and stability. Geography has made Canada the indispensable energy partner, a quiet giant with enduring influence, shaping the future of American power behind the scenes. America's energy security is, in many ways, made in Canada. The two economies are intertwined, their fortunes rising and falling together. The true power lies not in the oil fields but in the hands that control the flow, engineers, policymakers, and workers who keep the energy lifeline open. Canada's grip on the energy lifeline is a form of leverage few Americans ever consider, yet it shapes the daily lives of millions. The future of American power, its lights, its industries, its very way of life, runs through Canadian pipelines. The Arctic, once a frozen frontier, is rapidly transforming as the ice melts. New shipping lanes, like the Northwest Passage, are opening, potentially revolutionizing global trade. The US sees these as international waters, but Canada claims them as its own, controlling who passes through. This dispute places the keys to a future trade route firmly in Canadian hands. The Arctic also holds vast, untapped reserves of oil, gas, and minerals. Much of this wealth lies within Canada's claimed territory. While the US has Alaska, its access is limited. To project influence in the Arctic, it must cooperate with Canada. Canada's ports, icebreakers, and consent are essential for American ambitions in the north. As other nations expand their Arctic presence, America's dependence on Canada grows. The nation that controls the North American Arctic controls access to its future. By an accident of geography, that nation is Canada. The melting Arctic is shifting the balance of power northward. In the new Arctic age, Canada is the gatekeeper. The great game of geopolitics isn't just played by neighbors. As Canada's strategic value grows, global powers like China are taking notice. China has invested billions in Canadian energy, minerals, and agriculture, securing long-term claims on resources America needs. Chinese state-owned enterprises now own stakes in Canadian oil sands and mineral companies, giving China a foothold in North America's resource base. This isn't just business, it's a calculated strategy to secure the inputs for China's growth. The US now faces a dilemma. Canada's resources are no longer guaranteed for American use. In a resource-scarce future, Canada could choose to sell to the highest bidder, whether south or across the Pacific. Geography gives Canada leverage, but China's presence amplifies it. The US must now compete for Canadian resources, not just assume access. The quiet neighbor has become the object of a global tug-of-war. The stakes for America have never been higher. The Green Revolution demands a new set of materials: lithium, cobalt, nickel, copper, and rare earths. The US wants to lead this shift but lacks secure supplies of many critical minerals. For decades, America outsourced mining, creating a dangerous dependence on global supply chains. Canada, meanwhile, is a geological treasure chest, with some of the world's richest deposits of the minerals America needs most: nickel, cobalt, lithium, uranium, and rare earths. Canada has them all. The raw materials for America's green energy future are, in large part, just across the border. Rebuilding US mining is slow and costly. Relying on Canada is faster and more logical. Canada isn't just an energy supplier, it's the foundation of America's next-generation industrial base. The security of everything from fighter jets to electric cars depends on Canadian minerals. Geography has made Canada the indispensable mineral warehouse for North America. Power isn't always loud, sometimes it's the quiet force beneath the surface. Canada wields this kind of power over the United States. America's cities and industries depend on Canadian water. Its energy security is tied to Canadian pipelines and power lines. The Arctic's future is shaped by Canadian sovereignty. The minerals for America's green future are locked in Canadian rock. Each thread is a point of leverage. Together they form a web of deep dependence. The US can't move its cities, redraw the map, or conjure resources from thin air. Its prosperity and security are inextricably linked to Canada. This gives Canada a quiet veto over America's future. Most people don't think in these terms, but the power is real. Canada rarely flexes this muscle, but its existence shapes every negotiation. The ultimate form of leverage is knowing your neighbor needs you to survive. The trends we've explored are only accelerating. Climate change, resource depletion, and technology will make Canada's geography even more vital. By 2050, a hotter, drier US will depend even more on Canadian water. The global shift to renewables will make Canadian minerals a matter of national security. The Arctic may become a major trade artery, with Canada at the helm. The old paradigm, America as protector, Canada as beneficiary, is fading. The relationship must evolve into a true partnership based on mutual dependence. America will need to treat Canada as the essential gatekeeper to its own future. Negotiations over water, energy, and resources will become more complex and more critical. The long, peaceful border may soon be a line of negotiation and compromise. Our journey across the continent is complete. The familiar map of North America tells only part of the story. The real map, written by geology and climate, shows America's future is tied to Canada. This isn't a story of conflict but of profound interdependence. True power comes from geography, water, energy, strategic access, and raw materials. Canada's geography is its destiny, and America's silent guarantor. Next time you look at a map, see the rivers and resources that connect nations. The Earth is a grand storyteller, and its tales are written in mountains, oceans, and ice. The story of America and Canada is just one chapter in the epic of our planet.